Okay.
Alrighty. So going live. Oh, wow. YouTube picked up really quickly on that one this time. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. The Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I got nothing special for an opening this time. I really don't. I will, however, go ahead and say that I was really tired this week because, as I just told Bridget just a few moments ago, I had a very long day of driving back and forth on the highway so that my son and I could vote in an off-year election. almost 3 hours of driving for 10 minutes in the voting booths. Not that we use voting booths anymore. I miss those. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble. Pleasure to be back with you again. Hope that you guys are doing well for yourselves. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. That's SHUJIN. Hi. Yeah, it's like I said, it was an off-year election again, and normally, it's a very low turnout. We're going to kind of talk about part of that, but that's a little bit of leading the bit just a little bit. Currently, from the Midwest of the U.S., Bridget, good morning.
Good evening still for me.
Yeah, there's a thing about that, and we'll kind of
Called time zones.
yeah, there's a couple of things about that. And sneaking in just under the wire over on the right-hand coast, Unrenowned Tech, you made it. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so we are expecting Joseph to be showing shortly. He let us know that he's firmly in the process of waking up, which, considering this is the first show after the time change, again, is not unusual because the time change is stupid. I'm sorry. Right now, the time zones are exactly where they're supposed to be. New York is 5 hours behind UTC. Stop mucking with it. All right, that's all I'm going to say on it, other than it's stupid, cut it the hell out.
We
go
just
with
need to stay on standard all the time.
Yeah, because, I mean, it just makes sense. It just does. And if anybody's got a problem with that, just remember, the original suggestion for this, that what we think of as daylight savings time, was originally written by Benjamin Franklin, published in Paris in a satirical tome. He wrote it as a joke. But apparently somebody paid attention. Don't know why. But it is what it is. And it's stupid and needs to go away. But we'll talk about that probably another time. Yeah, I'll make sure it's another. So, everybody, good that you were able to join us. Thank you very kindly. If you pop in while we're recording, of course, over on YouTube, you can join the nice folks over there on the live chat, because you guys help us. You help us a lot because, well, you're just good people. Generally speaking, there's a couple of you that we've got some, real issues with, but generally speaking, you're good people. Stephanie, good morning. Yes, we're back on UTC again. Isn't that nice? Yeah, it's nice. Felis, good evening. Glad that you're over there. And Seeger, you made it. How you doing? Good to have you. I'm drinking coffee at the moment, which is maybe not such a great idea. I am not going to be having any alcohol tonight because I get to go into work in the morning, which means I don't have a lot of time to spend after the show. Actually, I don't have a lot of time to spend with the show tonight because as we record, it is, it is 12:10 a.m. local for me over here on the Eastern Seaboard. And I have to be into work at 9 a.m. And it's a physical job, and I'm really not looking forward to this short sleep schedule this time. Although I will share this one piece of information with all you folks. Weighing myself on the scale at the office at the shop, I have broken the 250-pound plateau barrier. I am now reading out at 246, and that's even after lunch break. So I'm doing something right. So I'm doing pretty good for myself. I'm still not really flexible, but at least my weight is down significantly. So go me.
That's awesome.
It's over 50 pounds. I know that full well. I just don't know how much over 50 pounds because I stopped weighing myself at when I was over 300 because I just got disgusted with myself. So, like I said, go me. It's all good there. Anyhow, guys, how you? Well, Bridget and I were talking just a little bit a minute ago. So, Bridget, how you doing? You want to tell anybody anything?
I'm just sleepy. Nothing exciting.
It's okay. And Tech, how are you? You literally just got here, so we didn't get the chance to chat at all. Hi, how are you?
I'm exhausted.
I'm the only one that's actually like awake now, and I'm the one that has to get to sleep at the end of all this. This is irony right here.
I have a family member who's home from the hospital,
That's fair.
so there's a lot of aftercare going on.
That's fair. I take back everything that I just said, Your Honor. I would like that stricken from the record. Dallin, remove that. Replace everything with some public domain music or something. I don't know.
I'm positive I have a box of bottle caps. The candy.
Oh, those.
I enjoyed them growing up.
You were
except
also
for the root beer. Except for the root beer one, because it never quite tasted like root beer. It always tasted like they were trying for root beer and wound up with Tums. The other flavors, though, the cherry and the orange, I always enjoyed those.
See, you say that you enjoyed them as a kid, but your palate was 7 years old. You're older now.
And I still like them. And I still think the root beer one tastes like Tums.
There is an
Although I will
expression.
say this,
Mhm.
I think the recipe for the grape one, I think that one changed.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, because there was stuff we could have as kids that are now like banned from human consumption.
There are certain things that we can buy as adults now that should be banned, and I'm thinking very specifically of the sugar-free Haribo gummy bears.
No, those are great. Those are weapons of mass destruction.
No, those are weapons of ass destruction. Read any of the reviews.
It depends on what your ass is used to.
No. No, they're unlike the Borg who can adapt to anything. No, the human body is not designed to adapt to this.
Oh, see, that's how you defeat the Borg.
No,
You just fire the sugar-free gummy bears at them.
no,
Yeah.
no. Even in warfare, there are certain conventions you just
You'd watch
don't
the
do.
Borg cubes just blow up in a cloud of brown.
No,
Xylitol and sorbitol should never be consumed.
no.
I'm just saying.
Wait, sorbitol and alcohol?
Xylitol, either one of those.
I'm not getting in the middle of this. I'm not getting in the middle of this because
Artificial sweeteners like that are just bad.
yeah,
I do want to say that I did come across, in terms of food flavors, you've guys heard of Takis, right?
sure.
It's for those who don't know, it's essentially take a Dorito, roll it up into a tube, and hit it with like spicy powders. And the blue ones are really popular. They are literally blue. They turn your fingers blue the way Cheetos turn your fingers orange. Well, Takis has a new to me flavor. It's a hot flavor that they call dragon sweet chili. Oh my god, that's so good. Like, take the Doritos spicy sweet chili Doritos. If you've ever had them, they come in the purple bag, and they're like that but better.
That sounds like a very low bar to me, but okay.
Well, I
I would
actually
eat
happen.
them.
I really love. Well, I used to really love the Doritos spicy sweet chili, but the dragon flavor, dragon chili Takis. Holy shit! They're so.
Ghost pepper ones are horrible. I cannot eat them.
I find that most companies who make ghost pepper flavored anything get it wrong. The only one who got it right was Taco Bell originally. What they have now still is wrong. But when they first did where you could get a taco with ghost chili pepper, what it was is they put a small amount of ghost chili pepper powder in a sauce mixture and they drizzled that onto the taco. And you got some of the heat and some of the flavor in the sauce. And it was actually really good. And it didn't, burn both ends of your body. But now everywhere you go, it's just like, oh, this is flaming hot. But where's the flavor?
Yep. Yep. And therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
Enough
side questing.
Yeah. Well, I've just got one last thing that I want to share because I don't know quite how long
flavored.
I'm going to be holding on to this. I received, finally, a box. A little black box. The reason why I'm holding it and handling it the way that I am, because of what is inside of it. Yes, I'm doing the whole magician's grip with everything so that everybody can see exactly what's going on with all of my fingers, because there is someone who will have to be looking at this later. My sister in crime. She
Oh wait,
will...
is that your first gallstone?
I got one better.
Oh,
I
you got
have
D20
in my hands.
You got it.
And I'm handling this very carefully by the box.
Which material did you get it made out of?
This one is the purple. I forget exactly what it was, but it doesn't matter. What I have here is the purple crystal chonkus-sized D20 with the FUF me replacing the 20 and the 1 on it. This is going to be a combination long-awaited birthday gift and early Christmas gift for my sister in crime. Who by name is she? I'm not naming names at the moment. She can, of course, chime in on this later. I am intentionally holding it without touching it because I do not want to inadvertently put the Will Wheaton die curse on it.
You touched my die. I can't use it anymore.
That's right. Now, the reason why I wanted to show this off is because I'm going to be shipping it to her. But, of course, as we know full well, if you're going to ship anything, you need to have padding for it. So I have to decide for myself, what color am I going to wrap it in?
Yeah, I saw the picture of those.
Yes, I have.
Actually, if you're smart,
I'm going to use several. Actually, I've intentionally used several.
Yes, you're smart enough.
What I'm showing off to everybody is that I have a stack of different colored Crown Royal bags, which are otherwise considered, if you're gonna have dice for playing games, this is what you get. And yes, there are the purple Crown Royal bags, as we all full well know. But there are a couple of different sizes of them, including ones that would otherwise be for the 1 liter size container of Crown Royal. Why you can buy a liter of Crown Royal, I don't know. I don't get. But then again, I don't drink the stuff, so what do I know? So
that would be expensive.
One would expect. So I've got the white one with black lettering. I've got the... I'm not quite sure what this is. The hand-selected barrel. So it's supposed to look like some kind of like brown dungaree material. The green, which is apple, right?
Yes.
Should be.
That's the green apple.
Yeah, green with the yellow stuff on it. The well, it's not exactly purple. It's more like a wine. It looks brown on camera for you guys, I know, but it's not. It's just because the yellow of the color. I've got the purple one that's got the crown on a pillow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which doesn't
I
actually
haven't seen that
say.
one.
Yeah, which doesn't actually say Crown Royal on it. It's just the logo. The ones that do say Crown Royal on them, and the
The super duper.
the more the most fun one. It is brown. It looks like it is. It could be suede, but it has the crown just stitched on it, and that's all the logo it's got. So I have every intention of sending several, because I mean, we want to make sure that it gets there in one piece, don't we?
See, if only you knew somebody who was good at making like molds of things, right? Little like epoxy molds or silicone molds. They can make a molding of a Crown Royal bottle, right?
Oh, sure.
And just make a little plastic version of a Crown Royal bottle. Stick the box inside of that, seal that up, put that in the bags, and then nesting doll the bags. It's like, why did you nesting doll a Crown Royal bottle that's empty? And then, oh,
Yeah.
but I
So,
don't know anybody that you know.
so my sister in crime, when you get the opportunity to catch this up, you're welcome. You have family of choice. And thank you for being part of mine. So, with that out of the way, I've killed off enough time. Let me go ahead and get things started, and we'll get to the fun part after I go ahead and have my little moment of entertaining myself. So we'll get rolling. With 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. DKGR, JR. Okay, yeah, it's not a word. It is an acronym that doesn't make any kind of sense. And it's an initialism. It is, in this case, DK for Dunning-Kruger, JR for, well, in this case, it's Junior. I had an experience where I got to listen very carefully and learn something from somebody. I heard somebody who complained about another coworker. This is what happens when you just listen a lot to people. I heard somebody complaining about somebody else that they work with, that they wanted them to slow down their production, because every time they get over there for whatever the job, I didn't catch what the job was itself, but I caught as much as that. They were upset because the one person was doing such a good job that it was making them look bad, or at least that's the way that it came across to me. They wanted somebody to slow down, pace themselves. The actual wording that came across. And the rationale for it was that every time they come in, in the middle of their shift, the other person is always, they're always moving around. They're always doing their thing. And sometimes they're, out of breath, or at least it sounded like. It sounded very much like they were very put off that they were being shown up. So that was interesting. That was interesting to kind of catch, because a little while later, and I can't explain for you why I heard it at one time coming into this shop, and then hearing this person again on the way out of the shop. I overheard them talking with another person that they were working with about how they know somebody in their family who does tarot reading, and they're one of the best people that they've known who's done tarot reading strangers for money, as a side business, as a just partly for fun, partly because, well, okay, I'm not making a living out of it, but I'm just doing it because I can, and you're paying me for being there with you. And I couldn't help thinking to myself, you, who amongst other things I've heard before, yes, I've heard this person talk a couple of times before because of, I got to go shopping once in a while, so I go to the same shops. How they were so smart about things. Where they grew up, they had to be street smart about a lot of things, and they know a bunch of things. And one of the other things that I heard about was, out of their face, was that the reason why the Sphinx in Egypt doesn't have a nose is because some conquering group came through and lopped the nose off of it because they wanted it to look more lion-like, and they were gonna change the shape of it, and oh man, no, the nose of the Sphinx was actually shot off by people in the modern time, like in the early 20th century, if memory serves. Tarot isn't real, and all the different things that I heard out of you as far as to maybe your coworker needs to slow down to make you look better. Maybe that guy just decided that he wanted to up his potential. Maybe he wanted to up his game. And my dude, maybe what you need to do in order to make things better for yourself so you don't feel so bad that you're complaining about them, maybe you need to up yours too. Like I said, I go shopping at the same places, so every once in a while I hear these workers and again, I'm not going to name which store it is, but holy smoke, man! Every once in a while, it just boggles my mind because everybody's got the same shifts, and you come in, you come out. What are you gonna do? It's just funny as hell to me because we all know these one guys. It's just adorable. Anyway, I think now's about as good time as any. We get over to the horrible scopes because, well, that's kind of where we are in the show. So, for those of you that do know what your astrological sign is, cool. If you don't, roll a d12. Memorize what the little symbols are, or at least memorize yours. And if you need one of those d12s, get in touch with the nice folks over there. You can find them over on Facebook, Heart of the Game Fredonia. They're nice bunch of guys over there. Well, one guy in particular. He said it's okay to mention them, so we keep doing that. Let's get in touch with them, let them know that Shujin Tribble sent you. And, of course, hail Fredonia. It's home of the Blue Devil. Look it up sometime. You'll see what it is. Now, like I said, clocks have all switched back to what I'd like to call correct time. So I'm going to give you some night-themed scopes for this week. And yes, there was a suggestion for theme for this week, which would have been something other than the Atari 2600 game console games, which was last week's. And unfortunately, I need to do a lot more research in order to make that happen, which I didn't do yet. But I'll get around to it. I promise. It's just I didn't have time enough to do that just yet. So I'll get around to that as soon as I get the opportunity. Before we get any further, then, I just heard some ticky electronic taps, and that would be that Joseph is able to join us. Good morning.
You can actually hear me typing.
I heard something. So
okay, sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Don't be sorry. It's okay.
You made it, and that's the important part. Get your name over on the screen for you. How are you doing today, by the way?
Okay. Still waking up.
Yeah, now that the time zones have changed again, isn't that fun and wonderful, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, at least we're back to quote-unquote normal time.
Exactly right. So, let's go ahead and do that, and we'll have a little bit of fun from there. Aries, at 5 p.m. local time, face the west coast of North America and say goodnight to Hollywood. And not just because of the Billy Joel song of the same name, but because that's where the sun goes to die every day. And sure, there's people in Hawaii that claim that the sun's up there long after it's gone down for the rest of us on the mainland, but come on, who are you gonna believe? Us? Or the people who say they live on an island, where the weather's always perfect? This week, trust nobody. Not even us.
Taurus. One of the best parts of this season is the cold wintry nights. Get yourself some hot chocolate, a warm blanket, a comfortable beach chair, and some good quality binoculars. Looking up at the night sky is so much better now when there's so little atmospheric turbulence getting in the way. This week, imagine what it was like for Galileo looking up at the moons of Jupiter for the first time. And his telescopes were nothing compared to what you can use today for under $100.
Gemini, you need to get out more, and what better time than now? It's still cold at night to wake you up before you drive home, and there's less snow on the ground than there will be soon. This week, get your Lyft and Uber accounts set up and prepaid so you can get sloshed in public like you promised God you'd never do again. Just
Oh, right. Yes. Cancer Moonchild. When was the last time you got to the ophthalmologist? Ophthalmologist? What the hell's that? Yeah, we're guessing it's been a while. Now's the time, since your astigmatism is going to be getting worse. No, that headlight streaking you see isn't from your windshield wipers. It's your cornea. This week, send your parents to the bill for the corrective lenses you'll need. It's ultimately a genetic issue, and they're the cause. Hold them accountable.
Yeah, in this case, that's the eye doctor.
Yeah, okay.
Leo?
It's not optician. No, oh, yeah, right. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Leo, your search for the ultimate truth is going to bring you into a disastrous realization that you're the last person alien civilizations should make first contact with. It's not that you're a bad person, but your scope of mathematics, geometry, and chemistry knowledge are, let's be generous here, and we'll call it lacking. This week, learn how to make a three-dimensional object with only two physical sides.
Virgo. You need to combat your seasonal depression any way you can. Changing your diet will only go so far, so here's an idea for you. Change your visual stimulus. Step 1. Wear sunglasses with yellow lenses to brighten up everything. Second, listen to soothing sounds, like the water lapping at the beach as seagulls wheel overhead. And third, this week, go out and buy simulated sunlight light bulbs, or just get the remote-controlled color-changing LED light bulbs, and find the right temperature setting that helps you.
Libra, get your snow tires out now. You need to get your oil change, so you might as well trade out the tires while you're at it. And before you say it's too early, remember how you ended up going down the highway sideways because you hit the black ice and a gust of wind? This week, double check you have the tires on the correct way. Remember, they have arrows on the sidewalls to remind you which way they're supposed to spin. Yes, they do.
Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Where am I? Yep.
Scorpio.
Oh, thank you. 2 words for you this week. Smooth jazz. Turn down the lights, sip some liquor, and enjoy some Dave Brubeck or Nat King Cole in your ears. It'd be a great way to relax after the weekend, after the week ahead. After the week ahead? This week, well, we just told you, liquor, assuming you know her. If not, do some poker.
That's an old joke.
Oh, okay.
Sagittarius, you want to do some photography, right? How about something sort of complicated requiring you to do some math? If you hook up your digital SLR camera to your computer, you can set up time-lapse photos through your window at the sky. But you'll need to do the math to see how long you want the final video to be, how many frames per second, how many photos per minute to take. So this week, check how much hard drive space you have left and empty your fax directory. We all know you don't have any faxes in your fax directory.
Capricorn. With autumn here, it's time to enjoy fresh pressed apple cider. Yes, you could do it yourself, but it's more fun to go out to an orchard and watch them smash bushels of apples and run them through a hydraulic press. If you want to do it at home, you'll need about 6 apples, a decent knife, a lot of cheesecloth, and something to press out the juices. This week, buy a gallon at the store and watch some hydraulic press videos on YouTube instead. You'll be amazed at how much pressure Legos can take.
Heck, there are YouTube videos where there are Lego engineers who build stuff that they end up replacing like the regular Lego axles with metal, because the devices they have created are so powerful that to run them actually warps the Legos.
Yep.
It's amazing.
I've seen those.
Oh, they're so cool. It's like my inner kid goes, wow. Aquarius, you get to enjoy the season best. There are all kinds of stories or videos to keep you entertained through the early night. Let's start off with the pet-themed You Laugh, You Lose playlists. Find the video where a woman makes snow angels and her horse joins her on the ground to do it too, and follow that rabbit hole down until you can't stop smiling. This week, enjoy yourself. You earned it.
Pisces. Paranoia is your friend this week. Christmas is closing in on you faster than you know. If you don't get all the things you need, you'll never get your Santa Claus capture machine built, tested, and deployed in time. And remember, you don't need a building variance for it if you keep it inside your house this time. This week, watch The Nightmare Before Christmas for ideas on how to catch Santa Claus.
Those are your horrible scopes for this week. Remember, if you like what you got, I'll be flattered. Or maybe you're just Aquarius that we're being nice to you this week. As usual, I will have these posted at the end of the week. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Blue Sky. Yes, got Blue Sky accounts. I got lots of invites, so anybody that needs an invite that is in good standing with us, I'll be more than happy to share. All you got to do is ask. I know. Asking is always the hard part, but it's just me. It's all fine. I'll be more than happy to do, the best that I can for you. This is episode 473 on the docket, Your Honor. Way to go, Ohio. Yeah, for those of you that were not paying attention to the national news, Ohio had put as a vote to the populace a couple of different things for amending the state's constitution. One of which was to make it necessary to have a 60% public vote on any resolutions to make amendments to the state's constitution. That failed, which is fine, because Proposition 1, which actually now puts it into the state constitution that reproductive stuff, shall we say, is up to the individual now. It is no longer something that the state can say, no, you're not allowed to get an abortion after 4 hours after you find out that you're pregnant. Or whatever it is that you're pushing for now. So the public came out there, and I forget what the exact numbers were off the top of my head now. It was 55-45. What was it? It was 56-43, with a little bit of rounding error. And the public came out and said, yeah, we'll update the constitution of the state so that it's now it's in the constitution. You can do that. But the problem now is that the conservative Republicans, and I don't believe I need to say very much beyond that, because most people are going to know because they're typecast, and with good reason, have gone ahead and basically said, this isn't over yet. So I want to have a little bit of a discussion. Why this vote mattered, why this outcome matters, and why these sons of bitches think that they can just go ahead and put it out there to a vote and then cry when the vote doesn't go their way because, well, it didn't go their way because they're out of touch. Basically is how it comes down to, but we'll deal with this. There's a piece of data that I did not think to go looking up, which is what the percentage of peoples in Ohio are, those who can become pregnant versus those who cannot, to try to find out how close along those lines this vote ends up being. Considering the population in the U.S. is slightly skewed more female than male, if I remember correctly, by within a percentage point, I think it is what it is. That means that it's not just women who voted yes on this one. So you guys go. So Bridget, I want to start off with you. I talked with you a little bit before we got started with the show, because you back in the day had to be dealing with Mike Pence and his wonderful ideology and how it influenced how all these older white men influenced how everybody was supposed to treat non-white men. I'm thinking very specifically on women and the freedom to choose for themselves their reproductive systems and whatnot. So you want to give a quick rundown on some of the things that you had to deal with over there, and then we'll kind of spin that out into what's happened over here with Ohio and all that shit.
Well, they were trying to do a complete ban here, and eventually finally got one. But we were so upset at what Pence was trying to do that we started a group called Periods for Pence. And we're trying to send feminine hygiene products his way, but because, it's a biohazard, couldn't. So we had a Facebook group and lots of people calling his office to report when they started their periods, just checking in, let them know what was going on. Because what else are you going to do?
Yep. Uber compliance is just the greatest way of making people realize how much dumbasses they're being. Malicious compliance. That's the word I was looking for. There is a subreddit group for malicious compliance. Lots of videos, compilations that end up over on YouTube, and tell you people, those of you that actually know how to do malicious compliance right, you're great. You guys are great. So the Ohio voters, came out. They did their thing. They voted. on an off-year election. And let's go ahead and kind of make mention about that, because that's an important part about this whole thing.
A bunch of people showed up.
Oh, a bunch of people showed up. Now, here in the United States, the big elections are the federal elections, and that's every 4 years. That's when we have elections for the top federal office. Presidential election is typically what it's referred to, and there's a lot of stuff that happens for different Congress critters and local elections, county executives, mayors, governors, that kind of thing. That's when it usually happens, the biggest ones. And you'll see that every 4 years. Every 2 years, it's considered an off year, or the semi-year, whoever it is, whatever they want to call it. And there's still Congress critters and some locals and whatnot that have to be done because the timing for stuff. But be that as it may, but every year in between those, there are still elections, and it's usually for the local stuff, and that usually gets overshadowed a lot of times. So for there to be an election on a constitutional amendment, a state constitutional amendment, on one of these 1 years, I don't know if anybody wants to pick up the ball on this one. That one to me felt very shenanigans and kind of what the hell you guys trying to pull kind of thing, because it feels like, why should we expect that anybody would come out? It's just one of these completely off-year elections. Nobody comes out to these. You know what I mean?
Yep. But they showed up in Ohio.
They showed up in Ohio. So, Tech, what about you? Did you have any paying attention on this one, or did you hear about this in any way?
No.
I know you've been otherwise a little bit busy, but I figured I'd.
Yeah, I've been otherwise extremely busy. What I can say is the reaction of the so-called Republicans, because I don't even think of them as Republicans anymore, to the general populace not siding with them is not surprising. If we were to get rid of the Electoral College, if we were to get rid of gerrymandering and all that other fun stuff, and it was one person, one vote, for all the areas and various public offices and everything else, the conservatives and the regressives would lose, just almost across the board, because there are more people in this country that actually care about one another than there aren't. And even on the regressive conservative side, there are people who do truly care. They have different opinions and different thoughts of, whether it's educational differences that's causing it, community differences, cultural differences is immaterial. But there are some people out there that, while they're doing harm, they actually do care. They're just either misguided or uneducated or overeducated. It can be any number of things. But there are a lot more people that care about others than there are people who don't care. The problem is that our government system that's currently in place, the way the laws are currently, the way everything is currently working, it does not reward those people. It rewards the power hungry. And the power hungry are typically greedy. They are they run in the same groups, even if they're on different sides of the tickets. A lot of them go to the same schools, have the same social clubs, have the same activities, same colleges, or same degrees, whatever. They run together like a herd. And so they know what's good for them. So they don't have to get behind closed doors and have secret conspiratorial meetings or things like that. They know that, okay, this thing that's coming up, we need to make sure this happens because it's good for us, not we the people, but we the few who are in power. And even though it means my opponent on the other side of the aisle retains power as well, my opponent's going to do the same thing to help make sure that my power stays in play too. It's just degrees of that power that change, that fluctuate.
Yeah.
And and this is nothing conspiratorial because there's no need for an official conspiracy. We've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you know, as long as the general public keeps getting sidetracked by the oh, this person over here who wants to be known as they them, for their pronouns, is the real problem versus the greedy son of a bitch who just paid all the lobbyists so that you can no longer have the full share of your social security when you retire. You're actually going to lose another 25% of it. We're going to blame the gays on that, or the trans, or whatever. You're never going to fix it.
Yeah, Joseph, I want to get you on this one because part of what he said, I want to amend. I want to add to it, actually, is where I wanted to go with this. What he was saying about how, yeah, what he was saying, what Tech was saying about the people who can be greedy. There's another piece about that I want your input on, because it's not just the people who are greedy or opportunistic entirely in politics, and this goes for so many other areas also, areas meaning not just here in the US, but this seems to be in politics in general. But it tends to also be the people who have a certain charisma to them, the ones who pull in people to get behind them to get into these positions of authority and power. And somehow it feels like that charisma is part of how the greed ends up getting into the machinery, to me. And I want kind of your input on that one.
Well, it's kind of a mix of everything. You'll see that all sides are dealing in. Everybody seems to be discussing around a selective reality. Like reality itself is a sum of events and facts, and it's our job to see as much of it as possible and take into account. Basically, it's our job to make what's in our head match reality. And if you've got on one side the quote-unquote greedy, taking advantage of the survive by mutation aspects of a greater population, well, they're going to be arguing certain facts or trying to distract from facts, whereas the public will be following blindly. Or if the greater public isn't averted to the facts, they won't be paying any attention to them at all until they have to pay in one way or another.
Yeah. As an aside,
I'd almost like to rewrite. I'd almost like to rewrite today's politics in a sort of human behavioral kind of schema, because certain behaviors can go to both sides of the aisle, but we tend to define things. If it's one side doing it, it's one thing, and if it's the other side doing it, it's another, and that tends to confuse things even more.
Now, there's absolutely something to be said about that. And funny enough, and by the way, over in the chat over there, Mooncheeks, welcome back, good to have you, had also said, politics, it's like watching a feces throwing contest, who can stay the cleanest. And there is a truth to that in a lot of ways. And as far as to the whole, both sides end up doing, some of the same stuff. It's just that we call out one more than another. Well, yeah, absolutely. The problem, if you will, as I see it, is that there is a decided difference between oh God, this is going to be a really bad way of putting it, but all right, so call me out on this one, how right or wrong I am. There is a definite difference in the quote unquote, for me, quote unquote, level of evil between, well, I don't want to say both sides, because there are more than just the two main factions here in the US, but we know full well the rest of them are just piddly along the outside edges. But
But you have to define evil before, because as far as I'm concerned, evil is anything if you're deciding for someone else at their expense for your own benefit. That's globally my definition of evil.
That's not a bad one. I'm sure there can be some more nuance added to it, but considering it's closing in on 1 a.m. local for me, I'll be arsed if I'm even going to be bothered looking for whatever the hell that nuance is going to be. Whatever, it's good enough for rock and roll radio. All right, I'm going to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
somebody with good intentions could do harm because they're not aware of all the facts. But I wouldn't call it evil if their intent was not either profit or harm.
Malicious. That's the word that I would be looking for. So long as the intention was not malicious. And I think that's where the difference comes in, because we who are, regardless of what political label we give ourselves, and I am officially on my voter records, I am officially listed as independent, because I do not agree entirely with either of the two political groups, enough to throw my hat in the ring with them, shall we say, because I don't feel strongly enough with either one of them or any of the minor parties. So, I'm one of those fight for my vote kind of guys. But I do truly believe that those of us who fall more towards the progressive side of things, whichever group that might be, because remember, here in the United States, the Republican and Democrats, they flipped platforms, such as what the Republicans would call a platform these days, once upon a time ago. So their main goals and statements of what they want were exactly opposite, some time ago. But we, on the progressive side of stuff, capital P progressive side of stuff, we would have a much higher percentage of calling out our own if somebody did something malicious versus those on the opposing side of everything, where for them, there is no bottom to the hole that is dug. And they'll keep everybody and anybody, regardless of what dirty trickery goes on. And
it seems to be the Republicans. It's like one side is the gang war tactics party, and the other one is the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, but
take your pick.
Yeah, but for the conservatives, and I'm going with that word at the moment, they are very much of they don't care what the road is paved with, because so long as they drag everybody behind them to whatever their end point is, they don't care how they get there, whether it's gold paved or not. They're going to drag everybody along with them to the gold pot that they're trying to get themselves to, that they're collecting, and put everybody underneath it in the fire.
Well, the people are doing that. They're the more the gang war people. The road to hell is paved with good intentions is the well, basically people who can think critically, thinking that the entire population can think critically as well. And the higher up you are, the more misguided you can be if you don't have all the facts. So you make a decision on something according to, quote unquote, the will of the people, which is completely misguided in the first place. Well, hell shall ensue.
Now it's great that you mentioned that, because I want to finally pull that back into Ohio's voter base intentionally, because the voting base, like I said, almost 55% came out there and said yes to this constitutional amendment. Statistically speaking, if there is a yes and no, by chance, it's going to come out to roughly 50-50. Which, it didn't. Fortunately, it was above, 50%, which is good. The fact that it wasn't higher in the yes column is concerning to me, but you know what? We'll take the win. And I say we as in just society at large, because I mean that's good. But to go along with what I put for the show, the fact that there are people in the legislature now who have said, well, literally said, and even though I'm not quoting, I could go look up the quote right now, but I really don't feel like it. Just because it was put to a vote to the people doesn't mean that that's how it's supposed to be. Because putting a vote this important to the people is no way to run a democracy. What?
Oh, are you sure about that?
What absolute bullshit was that line? And I am not quoting, I am paraphrasing, but that last part about that's no way to run a democracy, that is part of the quote. I'll be damned if I'm going to go looking it up right now, because otherwise I'm going to end up having keyboard tappity all in the audio, and nobody needs that right now.
Who said that?
I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody in the Ohio legislature, if memory serves.
You know what's really funny is that would almost be true if you calculate that correctly, if you calculate that effectively, if you manage to convince most of a population that your quote-unquote version of reality is the truth, and then after you get them to vote on it, that's pretty fucking manipulative, and I would not call that a democracy. So an actual taking the vote to the public can be very, very, very misused. And the people who would do that are the evil ones.
Yep.
But also, it's like a typical Democrat, quote unquote, mistake would be you've got the Republicans convincing their voter base that a certain reality is true. And the Republicans know that their voter base is going to vote more than the Democrats. They see how the stage is set, and then they take it and they say, okay, let's take this to the public, and they know they'll win.
And that's part of the reason why I think that they scheduled this specific vote for this specific election cycle. Because Democrats have a tendency to slack off during the off years, I think. I could be wrong about that one. I don't remember what the actual election numbers are, but I'm fairly certain that the Democrats have tended to not vote as much during the very off election cycle. But there's a piece about that that's also really, really interesting that some people forget about. The United States is not, quote, a democracy, unquote. It is a democratic republic, which means we elect representatives to go and do the bidding of the will of the constituents, or at least that's the way it's supposed to operate. Because an actual democracy, everybody would have an opportunity of voting on everything, and that's just, I'm sorry, that's just simply ungainly when you're dealing with, 300 million people. 300 million voices into everything is just, nah, man, that's too much. Eventually, you could get to a good consensus, but in order to slog through that, it's just not a real good way of doing things. It'd take too long to get anything done. But the problem is also that, like I said, for the show, these people who have been put into positions of elected power, entrusted by the people through these elections, are saying, like I said, this is no way to run a democracy, having the public actually vote on stuff. Or more importantly, yep, you voted me in to go ahead and be your voice. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my voice in there. It doesn't match yours? Well, that's tough. You knew what kind of a person I was when you voted me in. And it's like you pull the rug out from some group that you're supposed to represent, that you're supposed to be the guardian for, if you will, the steward of these lives. And you wonder why things work the way that they work, or don't. You vote for these ballot measures, and then you don't vote out the people who have screwed you over. I wonder how that ends up happening. I can't wait to see what the various ballot measures across the rest of the states start to come out to be, because and Bridget, I think you can help me out on this one. Memory serves, every time this abortion thing has come up as a state ballot issue, every time it's passed, if memory serves, correct?
Yep. Every single one.
And that's currently 15, 16 states out of 50, if memory serves.
I'm not sure the exact number.
I know it's less than 20, but it's steadily gaining its own foothold.
Unfortunately, that won't be the case here. We're not allowed to have ballot measures. It's against the state constitution.
Well, that's just wrong.
Yep, I think so too.
Oh, so Mooncheeks actually found it. Tech, are you reading the chat currently?
Which part of it?
That Mooncheeks found the quote that I was referencing.
Oh, you mean in YouTube? No, I'm not in the YouTube chat.
Okay, so I'll read it off then for you, and I want your input on this one. So Mooncheeks found the quote from Rick Santorum, which right off the bat, let's just go ahead and have a little reminder of people that the term Santorum has been changed into not just a slur, but a slurry. And okay, for the next 5 seconds, if you are squeamish in things that you don't want to hear, that have to do with bodily fluids, Now would be a good time for you to go ahead and mute for the next 5 seconds, starting now. Santorum has been termed the fecal release with a whole bunch of lube. So there you go. There's your 5 seconds back. I did not make that. I did not make that quote. That was somebody else that came up with it, and it is taken off. And let me tell you, Rick Santorum really doesn't like that. But you know what? I'm pretty sure it's in. I'm pretty sure it's in some official dictionaries. So, what are you gonna do? Rick Santorum, quote: "You put very sexy things like abortion and marijuana on the ballot, and a lot of young people come out and vote." Continuing the quote, "It was a secret sauce for disaster in Ohio. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's why I thank goodness that most of the states in this country don't allow you to put everything on the ballot, because pure democracies are not the way to run a country. Full stop." End quote. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bypass the ending of the show and just say, Rick Santorum, fuck you in your face.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same prick who defended waterboarding. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that he would be against anything that doesn't benefit him or his party, of whichever party he decides, whatever line he decides to be on, whenever he decides to be on it.
A very squishy brown line, no less.
Yeah.
Did he ever pick up whatever that challenge was to experience waterboarding to determine if it was torture or not?
I don't think he actually did that.
I can't imagine why.
I mean, there were other people. Like, there was a radio show host who was a very staunch conservative reporter, staunch conservative radio show guy, and they videotaped it, and like 5 seconds into the waterboarding.
Hold on. Before you finish that thought, let's also remind everybody that one of the people that we absolutely appreciate, even after his death, which his death anniversary is going to be coming up next month, Christopher Hitchens, also said waterboarding is perfectly acceptable. It is not violence. I don't remember if he said that exactly, but it wasn't torture.
There are people that we agree with who have made bad decisions.
And both of these people that we're talking about went ahead and proved it by experiencing what it was. Go ahead and now continue.
And so the radio show host who did it, he had a professional come in who had actually been trained to waterboard, a professional interrogator who was retired. And 5 seconds into the waterboarding, the radio show host who's on this table or whatever it was he was on jumps off, rips everything off his face, grabs the microphone, and goes, "That's torture. That's drowning. That's torture." He could not say it fast enough of how horrible that experience was.
Christopher Hitchens also had, if not quite the same identical reaction, but he came out of it. They gave Christopher Hitchens a bar to hold on to as a safety piece. When you've had enough, or you're panicking, release it. He released it, but I remember him saying that he panicked that so badly that he put a death grip on that at first, and he experienced an extra couple of seconds because he could not stop clenching his fist. And then it finally dropped. And he came out with the same as torture.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that goes to show that we can, when there's something that people disagree on, and it's something that anybody can experience, and you have a group of people saying, "Look, we've experienced this. This is a horrible thing, but you people over here keep telling us there's no problem with it. We're giving you the chance to experience it so that you can understand, that you can empathize with us," right? The whole concept of walking a mile in another man's shoes, as the phrase goes. we need more people to have who want to be in politics, who actually have empathy, like real empathy for others. And we don't. We have greedy motherfuckers. We have power hungry people.
Yeah,
we have people who pretend to be empathetic. Oh, yes, I'm a representative of the people. I'm a small business owner. Well, how small is your business? Well, my small business rakes in billions of dollars every year. That's not a small business. If you're making billions of dollars in profit, you're not a small business.
No.
No, you're a player. You're one of the big ones. If you have, oil fields and ranches and franchises and all this other stuff, you're not a small town person who is running a garage out of their garage, or somebody who's barely making payments on that little restaurant that they own around the corner that is just the local little diner that caters to the local blue collar workers. You There hasn't been a politician that could ever convince me that they're, down to earth people. Now, there's one politician that I remember reading up the history on that I thought, wow, that's actually interesting. That guy actually has like some true firsthand experience of working with some people. And that, believe it or not, was President Bush, junior, not senior, where he was working with a lot of the Hispanic people on the ranches and such. In fact, it was amusing that Bush could orate in Spanish better than he could in English. He was more comfortable doing public speaking in Spanish than he was in English. And he was very comfortable around them because he worked with them. Granted, he was in more of a position of authority than the guy getting down in the dirt or anything like that. But he he showed respect for his employees and things like that. So, still not my favorite president, still not the man I voted for, but it was an interesting fact, and you don't see a lot of them like that. Like, McCain, when he was alive, I had respect for the man. Didn't vote for him, but I definitely had respect for him. And when Trump was making fun of him, when other people were making fun of him, I was like, really? Come on, people, have some class here, He may not be the best, but there are aspects of the man you just have to respect.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, when you look at the Republican Party today, it's not what it was. They're what it's comprised of now is just a group of people who are racist, they're regressivists, they're sexist, they're homophobic, transphobic, and all in all, they're greedy sons of bitches. So
Because it's convenient.
Yeah, and when they come out and say, "Oh, well, we can't do a full democracy because it doesn't work," it's like, your sentence is incomplete. It doesn't work for you because it would cause you to lose your power over others.
And they are steadily. And they
not
quickly, no, but that's
not fast enough.
Agreed. But
because
it is still
they can still make it impossible. Like, it's really funny. There's lots of examples in the world, but I mean, they can make it impossible for the thinking minority, quote unquote, to do anything about it. I don't want to make it no, it's a cliche extreme, but just look what happened in with Hamas. They were democratically elected, and once they're elected, they said, "Hey, no more democracy, no more votes." And I mean, the Republicans, as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what they're trying to do. But they're not going to be so. I don't think they can be so in your face about it.
Mooncheeks has also put over here, Republicans are currently big business party. Democrats seem to try for the average person, but no one really cares about the... Well, I've got this stupid heart in the way. Thanks, YouTube. We really appreciate that. That's a really bad place to put these things. You guys can see on the video what it is, but these reaction things. The dregs of society, the poor, elderly, disabled, the immigrants. I would tend to agree. The Democratic Party has tended to be more attentive to these groups, if not necessarily showcasing how to bring them up. But they aren't a complete forgotten area, which is arguably the nicest way of saying, yeah, you're there. We'll get you. Just take the number, as opposed to the conservative Republicans who will just, I don't know, line their boots with their skin, I guess. I don't know how else to put that. And I'm going to turn off my microphone because I'm about to cough.
Dude, we're wise asses. What do you expect from us?
I expect better.
Oh, okay.
Well-
I'll try harder to actually mimic a walrus coughing next time.
I don't think that's really necessary. Try to be nice and not
How
cough
about
into
a-
the microphone and blow out everybody's ears, but thanks. Appreciate that.
How about an otter clapping?
I try so hard. I really do.
You know, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse half the time nowadays. People are like, "Oh, it's this problem, it's this problem, it's this problem." It's like, no, it's a culmination of multiple problems. It's a culmination of a small group of or people that are doing everything in their power to make sure that nobody else can have power. It's the same problems over and over and over again, and things just keep getting worse. And we're like, well, we need to vote for this. It's like, dude, that's all part of the same problem. Have you not been paying attention? Well, they've been paying attention to their favorite radio station or their favorite TV show or their favorite news reporter, which I don't trust most of them anymore. And there's not, we need another Cronkite is what we need. And we don't have one. There's none. There's not one single reporter I'd look out there and go, "Ooh, that could be the next Cronkite. That could be the next truly trustworthy news reporter." I don't
I
see
think the
it.
best we have is Jon Stewart and John Oliver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There is exactly that. I'm not gonna stay very long on this particular item, but it bears being mentioned. John Oliver, great. Noah. Damn it! What the hell was his name? From
Noah Trevor?
Trevor Noah, right?
Trevor Noah?
Also, outstanding with recapping the news in a palatable way. And Jon Stewart, some years ago, he actually came on to, I forget whose show it was, and he came on there, and amongst the other things that he said in this interview was how sad is it that people are getting more news, actual factual news, from a comedy show than from your network, who is supposed to be a news network. And I was absolutely flabbergasted by that because it was true. And the thing is, it's still true. So, yeah, Trevor Noah, John Oliver, Jon Stewart, man, these are people that I would trust them, and that is a hard admission. I would trust them to give me the factual information, even if they have to use jokes in order to make some really horrible things a little bit, a little less uncomfortable. At least I know when all is said and done, what I get from them is going to be accurate. And that's a hard thing to admit to. So maybe in our own way, we do have our Cronkites now. It's just presented in a way that's far and away different because they've got great writing staff.
I remember watching the video where Jon Stewart was in front of, I believe it was Congress, and he was ripping a new one for about them trying to essentially take away the money, or not even assign any money, to the men and women who essentially got cancer and lung problems and all this other crap came from bodily harm because they were the first responders to 9/11.
Yep.
And he just rips into them. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm just listening and I'm going, why should he have to plead this case so hard for people who are supposedly people who have sworn that they love their country and that they love the people and that they're for the people and that and that the positions that they're holding of office are supposed to be to help the people, to get help for the people who were doing the good, the needful during one of the worst times that we've experienced in a while. And there he is ripping into them. I was like, that should have never got to that point. That should have never happened, ever. And you look at, as the camera's passing across a lot of the faces of the conservatives, Republicans, and whatnot of that time period, a lot of them have zero remorse. A lot of them are not making the kinds of faces that you would expect of somebody who has empathy to others to go, oh, I kind of dropped the ball on this one. Like, I really dropped the ball on this one, or I screwed up, or, they don't have any of those kinds of expressions because they don't have that kind of empathy for others. And at that point, it's being broadcast all over, the whole nation. And yet people voted those assholes back into office because they say the things that people want to hear, but they don't do the things that the people need help with. Just like I have said on countless episodes of HCTV, where there is this wonderful interview on YouTube of this guy down south who literally is only alive because of government subsistence programs, right? The social aspects, the socialism aspects of our wonderful democratic republic. Or, yeah, I believe you say it that way.
Yep.
That we have in place to help those people in need. And he was actively voting for people who were trying to take away those few things he had that kept him alive. And when the reporter pointed it out, he said, oh, well, they'll get it right eventually, but we got to get those others out of office. We can't let those others in. No. And I was like, dude, that's like the churches where they tell you, oh, you lost your job, your car, but all your cars got repossessed. You're at, you possibly might lose your house, next month. Well, why don't you give us 10% of whatever you have left in your bank account, and we'll pray for it, and Jesus will help you. And they go and do it.
Yeah. Mooncheeks had also pointed out Colbert. Yeah, I was thinking about him, and I couldn't think about it. Couldn't think about him quickly enough. So yeah, we got these guys, and
yes, I have a lot of respect for Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart, and them, but I was talking about on mainstream news.
No. Gotcha. But it's just that what we want is no longer on them.
No, I get
It's in a different area. And last item on this one, Mooncheeks had also pointed out, and this is true, I believe John Oliver bought medical debt and got rid of it. Exactly right. That is exactly what ended up happening on one of his episodes. I don't remember how much it was, but it was a significant amount, and did an incredible job of helping people not have to worry about becoming bankrupt anymore because of it. So, good.
I wish some of these people would run for office.
Yes,
You
but
know,
we also know that they're smart enough not to.
there's
True.
also there was a group out there, I forget the name of it now, and their sole goal is to get more STEM educated um, people to run for office. So scientists, mathematicians, so that they would hold the political positions, and when they would read the reports, from the scientists, the doctors, and so on, of things like what's going on with global climate change, what's going on with our infrastructure in our country, what's going on with food and water and everything else, they would actually have an understanding of what the hell they're reading, instead of turning to the lobbyist who gives them a bunch of money and a piece of paper and says, here's what it really says, here's how you should vote, have a nice day.
Oh yeah, and by the way, here's a check for you know what, you fill it in for however much you need for your next campaign. So, last bit as we closing in on this one, because this is a piece that I want to kind of open up the question on this one, and it's a question that I can't answer, Tech can't answer, and Joseph can't answer. So yeah, I'm kind of putting you on the spot at this point, hon. How important is it that the people of Ohio went ahead and put into their state constitution, that the people voted for it, considering that the Supreme Court not too very long ago basically gutted Roe versus Wade in the current climate?
I think it's very important. But at the same time, I'm wondering if their politicians are going to be able to block it like they're threatening to. I mean, their governor seems to have accepted, the quote unquote will of the people, but he thinks that they'll come to regret it. That's what DeWine has said. But some of the legislators that are saying, well, we don't care what you voted for, this is not going to happen. That concerns me.
Yeah, that's one of the pieces that just I absolutely cannot get. And anybody, as far as I'm concerned, any legislator who goes ahead and says, well, the people
Too
voted,
bad.
yeah, the people voted however they voted, well, you know what, no, I'm just gonna override that because I want to. Those are the people that need to be voted out of office. I don't care which side of the aisle they qualify under. Somebody that says that should no longer be in office, period.
So, conclusion, it's the outcome of all this that's going to be important.
Yep.
The worst part of it is there isn't going to be, from the way that these people are talking, there isn't going to be a conclusion. It's simply going to be another continued battle. There's, oh God, what the hell is the term for it?
Well, it's not a battle when only one side is fighting. Because the Republicans, they just fold time and time. Nobody's doing anything about it.
Quagmire. That's the word I'm trying to remember, isn't it? When you go into
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving out the biggest part. Actually, the voters should be doing a lot about it too.
Oh, certainly.
But if they can, and yeah, here I underline my the urgent need for critical thought in education, because if you don't have a democracy of critical thinkers, it's not one.
Yeah, no argument for me on that one. But yeah, the term I was trying to remember, like I said, I think it's quagmire. The way that they described how going into a conflict and I'm trying to remember if it was Vietnam or Korea, where it's you go into a battle, and you kind of maybe could have enough supplies to advance and beat back, but you're intentionally held back, so it's always almost this active stalemate going on. I'm trying to remember what the slog of it was, but effectively that's the way that I'm thinking that this is likely going to turn into. Because if the legislature in Ohio, even if the governor signs it, and he said that he would, if the legislature wants to keep going ahead and saying, well, we're going to just keep legislating, write new laws in order to make sure that there is no teeth to that state amendment, or not going to fund whoever it is that's supposed to keep tabs on that or enforce it, or whatever, it's just going to be another one of these things where it's just crying all the way to the bitter end until whatever, until these people just get voted out of office and people actually put in proper teeth to go along with the damn law. And the question mark becomes, how long is that going to have happen? Oh, best of my knowledge, Ohio is not gerrymandered up the yin-yang, so the likelihood of their having the possibility...
They are.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're heavily gerrymandered.
I did not realize. I thought that it wasn't.
It is.
I had not looked at it. Well, shit. I must have been thinking of a different... I didn't go looking it up, obviously. I didn't go looking it up. That's my fault. That's my fault. I didn't think to check on that ahead of time. Well, shit. So these people need to be voted out of office. People need to put non-gerrymandered districts in their state. All states. Thank you very much. And actually allow people to make determinations on how their self-autonomy is supposed to work. But, what the hell do I know, right? What do you think this is going to be happening at the national level? We don't have a lot of time.
It depends on how 2024 goes. Because the Republicans in Congress are now talking about a national ban again, even though they said, oh, let it go back to the states. Now they're like, no, now we need to federalize it again.
Because they're losing the states.
Right.
All this shit is on video. It's all recorded.
They don't care.
I know. But what I'm thinking is, all these statements of intent, every single one of them that have been broken, that have been shown to be just wrong, those need to be the new voting ads. Because it's simple. It's straightforward. It's to the point. It's reviewable. They're the hardliners you will never reach. by showing them the facts. We know that. But the ones who have been not wanting to pay attention for whatever reason, but are still reachable, these are the pieces that these are the clips that need to go out there. Every last goddamn one of them.
People need to wake up.
The sad thing is there's so many out there that say the same thing about us. Like, oh, you need to wake up. The real problem is the trans community. The real problem is the gay people. The real problem is the people showing perverted sex books to children, and they just it's like, dude, take a look around. First off, like, actually attend a drag queen book reading, and pay attention to the books that they read, and you'll find that it's not what you think it is. But they won't do that. They won't do that. They don't reach across the aisle. They hear what they want to hear. They hear the easy thing that they don't think, or they only think as long as something agrees with them. They stay in their bubble. They like Joseph has put so many times. They stay in their bubble, and they don't come out.
Because they don't know anything else, and anything outside of it, anything that they don't quote unquote know is a danger.
I think part of that,
Lost the bottle cap.
and I think part of that is an education thing, a young education thing,
which is being destroyed in this country.
I think it's deeper than that. I mean, for me, it's a switch. For switching from imitation to independent. I shouldn't say critical thought. Critical thought's only a part of it, but just basically, I'd almost like to call it growing up. I mean, just relying on yourself for survival. Looking at reality and deciding for yourself instead of seeking out an absolutely certain some other leader to decide for you. And it's funny, like many followers, they're seeking out absolute certainty, and they're always certain in their convictions. It's funny, that certainty, because when you don't think for yourself, if whoever you're following is not certain about what they're doing, well, that person's not going to be followed anymore. Yeah, I'm kind of going on the sidetrack, but it's just another behavioral trait. And
That's right. I'm just having a hard time with this one because the whole thing is simultaneously disappointing, infuriating, and makes me happy. And it's this whole weird bundle of stuff. I am not going to have to worry about it here in my state. And I don't have to necessarily worry about it for my bodily autonomy because I cannot become pregnant. And truth be told,
have you tried?
Hello?
I've been trying for years.
I apologize for the long silence there. I'm trying to deal with a piece that's suddenly hitting me. I don't have to worry about these things that are happening I'm in a situation where I don't have to worry about it. And what scares the living crap out of me is that in this country, in the United States, still to this day, there is so much selfishness. I can't think of any better way of putting it. That the populace will simply refuse to help anyone else. If you're not me, screw you. If I got mine, why didn't you get yours? That's your fault. And that is something that just doesn't happen in so many other developed countries. Said it before, for Canada and the United States, it's like there is this mirror line on either side of the border. Because here in the United States, it's me. And on the Canadian side, it's we. So much more. Culturally. And it drives me up a wall because until there is less of this selfishness, we're just going to keep having these damn battles over and over again. And the only way out of it that I see is to wait for these people to simply no longer be part of the population through natural attrition. Because, as somebody put it, the kids are all right. They're the ones that are going to be the biggest block when all is said and done. I am kind of in a bad spot at the moment, trying to collect my head. So Bridget, I want you to have a couple of extra moments over here. After Roe versus Wade became the law of the land, the Supreme Court for decades said it's just established precedent, and then they said otherwise, and then they changed the rules, and then again, like you said, put it out to a vote to the states, let that happen. And now the states are saying what they're saying each time, every time. Now they want to change the rules all over again. I want your opinion as somebody that has some vested interest in how this whole damn thing is played out over the last, lifetime of ours? How angry, how upset, how fatalistic. Where does this leave you after this whole damn thing for the moment? And I'm going to mute myself out for a second so that I can kind of put myself together just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Leaves me feeling like a second-class citizen in my own country. And it just floors me that this even happened to begin with. And, I have a daughter to think about. And I'm to the point of wanting to leave this country. I mean, for all of our sakes. I don't feel safe here. And I look at it that, if we lost the right to bodily autonomy, what's next? Are they going to take away the right to vote? They're already trying to push covenant marriage in, certain states, make it harder to get divorced. And, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with the Supreme Court decision on the right for people convicted of domestic violence to carry firearms. That scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah, I saw that when I heard about that one too. Obviously, we're not going to be tackling that now
Right.
or anytime soon. But yeah, folks can look up that one for themselves. It's convoluted, to put it mildly. We have to see about that. I think I've had more than my piece to. Joseph, you got anything left over before we go ahead and call it a night?
Already, okay. Yeah, no. Not without starting another discussion.
That's fair. That's fair, and I appreciate that. Tech, same.
Yeah, man, I've been just beating a dead horse.
Fair enough.
At least that's what it feels like. I honestly, it feels like I'm beating a dead horse.
Couple of pieces that came out right at the end over here, over on the chat. I'm just trying to figure out which pieces over here. Stephanie had pointed out, but thinking for yourself is hard work. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
exactly. Give me convenience or give me death.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why thinking for yourself is something that is an exercise. The more you do it, the less onerous it is. But you
exactly
gotta have that oomph to know how to do it, so that it can actually take.
It's like learning to walk.
Yeah. Again, from Stephanie, FYI, the Supreme Court has lost all respect worldwide. Yeah, we know. We're not happy about that by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, we know. And Mooncheeks, ending it off over here. When the potential contents of my uterus has more rights to life and medical treatment than I do to life, liberty, and the security of my person and medical health, I am no longer a person. There are others who have used this expression in the atheist circles, and it is no less accurate because it's used time and time and time again to remind people of the seriousness of this. For someone who is put into that position, there is only one word, there is only one term for what that person has become. Chattel. I don't know how else to save us off at this point than that. So I'm just going to call it, because I'm trying really hard right now for this towing. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. I hope that you got something out of all of our perspectives and you got something to think about for the week ahead. Thanks for being with us. Like I said, over in the chat, thank you guys. DJ Mooncheeks, Stephanie, Fearless, and I don't know if Seeker is still there. I didn't see you for a little bit. If you are still over there, thanks, man. Appreciate it. You guys take care of yourselves. Thanks for being with us. It really does mean a lot. Joseph, glad you're able to make it. You have a you have a good week ahead, man. Stay reasonably warm, I hope, out there.
Okay, you too, sir.
Appreciate it. Tech, You take care of yourself. Good luck. I hope you can get yourself some rest. Notice I did not say sleep. Hope you can get yourself some rest.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit down the line, things start to improve. Then we'll see.
Fair enough. Good luck with it all, man. Bridget, I'm pretty sure I got a pretty good idea as to who you want to go ahead and give a big ol' FU to, but go ahead and hit him.
I'm going to say Donald Trump again.
Wow, that was not all, even on my radar at the moment.
Oh, his little speech or rally or whatever you want to call it that he had today, and his slamming of veterans, go fuck yourself.
You know what? I didn't even hear nothing about it because I was otherwise away from stuff. So, wow. He was a bit of a tool, was he?
Oh, he's always a tool.
General Bone Spurs.
Fair enough. With that, I think it's safe for us to just go ahead and call it a night. I would be completely remiss if I did not acknowledge that yesterday was Armistice Day. And of course, collectively, we do give our respects for the venerated dead. Thank you for trying your best to make the world a safer place for all. Appreciate you. We will hopefully see you guys again next week. I don't expect that there's going to be any kind of a break in the schedule, at least not at the moment. I'll let you know if things go sideways for any reason. If you'd like to be in touch with us, of course, all the contact information is over at the webpage, holycrapthevlogcast.com, and all of our social media links are there. Well, most of the social media links are there. Blue Sky is not currently, just because I didn't add it because of reasons. I got tied up in a whole bunch of other stuff. But we are on Blue Sky the same as we over on Twitter. I refuse to call it anything else because everybody else is calling it that. I don't care. So it's at Holy Crap TV at Blue Sky Social. So we're over there still. Phone number, if you want to use it, is still available. 859-HCTV 554 859-4288 554. Please stay safe. Please stay being careful out there with the weather changing. For those of you that have to worry about the freezing temperatures, please travel carefully. We want to see you back again safely. Thank you for being with us. So, before I go ahead and realize that I'm rambling too hard, because right now I think that's where I am, just thank you. As always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. It is over 18 years later. My love, I am still in love with you. Well, not today, Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone, as always, good night.